Before you plant a single seed this season, there are 3 decisions you need to make to determine how successful your garden is this year. On today's video, we're going to talk about 3 things: how to take a soil sample, how to lay out your rows, and what vegetables you need to grow. Hey y'all, welcome to South Georgia Farmstead, where we show people how to grow gardens to make food. Not necessarily look the best. That's not going to be in Better Homes and Gardens magazine or the ooh and ah of your local garden club. Well, that'd be nice, but that's not our goal. Our goal this year is to get you growing food for your family. I'm doing a video series now where we take bare grass, and at the end of the year, it's going to grow hundreds of pounds of food for your family. So, welcome to this video. It's the second one in the playlist. I'll leave a link to the first one up wherever they do that, and follow along. Start your garden. We're going to show you how it's done, start to finish, A, B, C, D through Z. Now, let me start off by saying, before we get in the guts of this video, that you don't have to make perfect choices here. We're just going to have to make informed choices. Great gardens are improved year after year by making tiny adjustments to what the soil needs and what the plants need for that row. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is a soil test? Why do I need to do that? Well, a soil test tells you what your soil already has and what it may need to be the balance of what your vegetables are going to need. Most beginner problems start with not knowing what to add to their soil. You can go out here and take wild guesses, or go down the garden aisle at your big box store and just start raking stuff into a shopping cart, but that's not going to help your soil by just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it. A soil test tells you exactly what it needs, what major nutrients and micronutrients it may need. The main purpose of the soil test is so you're not wasting money on fertilizer or amendments that you don't really need. Just because your neighbor across town said, oh yeah, you got to throw this calcium in there, or you've got to do this, you got to do that. Your dirt is entirely different from his dirt. So let's go with what we're being told by the people who are agronomists and do soil tests on everything, every type of dirt in your county, in your state. Now, I went by my extension office and got a soil sample, which me and him joke about it, I call it a dirt stick, and some bags for the sample. Now I'm fixing to show you how to take a soil sample. It's easy. You just need the dirt stick, quote unquote, and a bucket to put it in to collect all the samples. Now, as you can see, this slides up and down. That's what knocks your soil out. You slide it in, step on it, get a good sample down there, get all the dirt we can, twist it, make it free. Slide it off in the bucket. Now, when we take our soil sample, that dirt's got a lot of moisture in it, so we're going to need to let it sit in that bucket and dry out for a day or two, or you can spread it on a table with good sunlight like we have today, and it should be dry and ready to bag up. I encourage you to reach out to your extension office in your area. Most state universities have an extension agent or office in your county, even if you're in the middle of downtown Houston, Atlanta, or Chicago. You've got an extension office somewhere, and there's somebody in that office that will help you with your backyard garden. All right, so now we're going to figure out how to lay off our rows. Now, I thought you just put a row in, a row out. We got our garden in the most sunlight. So what else do I need to know about the rows? Well, if you plan on growing some corn or something trellis like tomatoes or cucumbers or some sugar peas, then your trellis, if you plant it at the very front of your garden, could cast shade on the next few rows, 2 or 3 rows, for half the day. They don't have direct sunlight. That's not going to make for a happy plant. So begin with a plan. I know last video we were just focused on location, sunlight, water, and how far we had to tote some tools. Well, that was important. And I struggle with making which video first, that one or this one. Because if you decide you want to grow 80 different varieties of squash or 15 types of watermelon and cantaloupe, you're going to need a bigger garden. But as beginner gardeners, I wanted us to lay out a footprint first, get an idea how much work that garden was going to be just to walk up and down it and get it going. Now that that's planned out, let's start with 5, 6, or 7 vegetables that your family eats. When you're deciding on these crops, it's important to see, you're looking at seed packs or in a catalog or scrolling on the internet, this plant grows 36 inches high. Or corn, sweet corn is going to be a 7-foot crop. You know you're going to grow some squash plants. Well, how big does squash get? How big does zucchini get? If I grow a determinate tomato, how big is it going to get? How much room do I need to get by it to get to the other plants? You could pack so much food in that small area that it's going to be a chore just to walk through it and enjoy what you've done. So let's keep it simple. Let's think ahead of how we're going to lay everything out. What's going to go where? Every row has vegetables and a rotation. We know that it's 30-day or 60-day or 90 days for these vegetables. Let's plan that out. Now we get into the planting stage. We got our dry erase board or graph paper, however you choose to do it. We know that this is north. We draw our 20 by 20 garden plot here that we have, we're working with. And we know if that's north, there are some will be rising and flowing this way throughout the day. So we want our rows to run this way. Now, down here in the south, we would prefer that our taller plants be to the furthest west because our afternoons and our evening times are the hottest. That sun's been baking on everything all day. If we could just get a little reprieve from the heat, that would help out our plants and some of our watering issues with evaporation. So we've got our 9 vegetables here picked out that we want to, that our family, eats pretty regularly or we would like to eat more often to be healthier. And we kind of got all the days listed as far as how long it takes to grow. Now these are in the ground dates. Like your tomatoes and squash and zucchinis and even your lettuces and broccolis and cucumbers, you can all start them early in a greenhouse and wait for the time to plant, and you've got a couple weeks head start than just planting the seeds. So you can kind of go ahead and get prepared for everything. In our area now, people already have tomatoes and peppers already in the greenhouses, and they'll be planting squash and zucchini soon in trays to get ready to transplant. Broccoli's already in the ground. So just depends on your area as when you need to start. I can't tell everybody when they need to do it for their area. So I'm just going to go basically right here for middle America. Um, you're going to be putting in this time of year, early early spring, late winter. You're probably going to have. You'll start off with your broccoli. Uh, you know, at 18 inches apart. So you might want to start one row now or half a row, and wait 2 or 3 weeks and start your other part of it. So you have it in succession. So you're not having to do something with 20 feet of broccoli. You've got 6 or 8 plants in the first section, and the same in the second section. So we'll have broccoli in the ground first, and we can you go ahead and probably have your butter crunch in there. Now these are all lower, I guess, lower canopy stuff. Your butter crunch, you can put in a lot closer areas. So you might want to go 3 successions on your butter crunch. And you can probably start your or be ready to start your sugar snaps. Now your sugar snaps, no peas, whatever, 55, 65 days. They're a legume, so they don't take a whole lot of nitrogen out. They actually add nitrogen to your soil. So depending on what crop you've got coming next, if they're a heavy feeder, you might want to go ahead and decide to put, well, I need to put that by following that because that'll save me a little bit in fertilizer. So sugar snaps, yeah, it's kind of the winter time, early spring, so it's not going to get very hot, but you've got to build a trellis. So we'll put our sugar snaps on the far side. So we're here, we're middle of the spring. All this is getting ready to come out. Taking our first cuttings of broccoli and our first things of butter crunch lettuce out. And we're going in with carrots. We're going to plant the carrots on a succession too. I'd probably go back with that. That's a whole lot of carrots. So you can succession plant those as that lettuce, that butter crunch comes out. You can start planting that. Or you could go ahead and start it a little bit early and have both of them going and enjoy a salad with carrots. So as those are coming out, where our broccoli was, we could be getting that set up for cucumbers. That's another trellised item, but depending on which variety you go with, of how tall it is, if you go with pickling cucumbers or slicing cucumbers. Now, if you're going pickling, I'd probably plant the whole row so you have a big harvest at one time to batch a whole thing of pickling stuff. If you're going slicers, maybe do them in succession too. As that broccoli comes out, you can plant that other. So as our spring is going away, we're eating the butter crunch. We're planting more succession of carrots. Might not be the same variety. Might be one that accepts the heat a little bit more as we get closer to summer. Now we've got our tomatoes coming in. Let's put them tomatoes right here to help shade those carrots from that heat as summer comes on. We put our eggplant over here beside it, the other side of the carrots, and now we're ready. Summertime, got our eggplant planted. Come in here with our squash. The squash is another plant that you don't need to plant too many of, or you're gonna get overrun with squash. And zucchini. Put them both on the same row. They all run about the same width as far as getting down. Now that squash is going to come out, the zucchini is going to come out about 4 or 5 feet. So tomatoes are going to come out quite a distance too, depending on which variety of tomatoes you go with. Determinate or indeterminate. How many rows is that now? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. that spacing may need to be a little bit more. And our sugar snaps are coming out as it's getting too hot. And we could go in with another plant of go ahead and start our squash off on another succession of them after a couple of weeks. Those, and then your zucchinis. So in other words, just have a plan of how you're gonna go through your first season into your second season, so you know what's coming behind it, how many days, so you can go ahead and get plants started, like your tomatoes or eggplant, or squash, or zucchini. You can go ahead and get them started ahead of time indoors. The next video, we're going to go through start your seeds and building a little, I guess I call it a little greenhouse, a little hot house that you can put outside, so when your plants get tall enough, you can start hardening them off out there, leaving them outside, and getting them ready to transplant. Another benefit of growing your own plants is you get control of it from start to finish. You don't really know what those plants are exposed to in a greenhouse, or what they've been sprayed in before. If you're trying to grow more organically for your family, that kind of gives you that extra control over it, of deciding what goes onto your plants. But on the other hand, if you're in a tight planting window now, and you're seeing this video today, and it's warm enough outside to start planting, buy the plants. You don't have time to waste. Go ahead and get them in the ground. You can kind of decide then how you're going to raise those plants. If you're going to raise it conventional ways, or if you're going to grow it in a more organic way. So next video, seed starting, and we're going to get like a cold frame, or a hot box, as I like to call it, so where we can set our plants out there as the time gets closer to transplant them out. That way, I need to harden my plants off, which means I need to get them acclimated to the weather. So anyway, see you next time. Like, subscribe, and I'll leave a link to the first video of this playlist of first steps of going from grass to garden. Thank you.